maximum 1 minute in response to your questions. So, who wants to go first? I'm sure I hope there's loads to be said on the floor. Don't be shy.
I'll go first.
Go and hand yourself. You're not behind the door.
No. Hi, Miss Sood.
Yes. Everybody's actually going to answer, so it's a question for the panel, but you can go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
You were saying you came here to Newbridge 20 years ago?
Yes, I did.
Over 20 years ago?
Yes.
How do you feel about, you came from, say, India or somewhere, is it?
Sorry, just to reiterate, it is a question for the panel, so your question should be more general, I would imagine, please.
Okay, just to answer to that, yes, I was born in India, raised in Kenya, but I've lived in Ireland more than I've lived in any other part of the world.
And my family is actually a mixed race as well.
Okay.
My wife is half Jamaican.
Sorry, do you have a question?
Will you let me finish?
Well, you can start, please. That would be great.
What I'm trying to say is that you've come here now, my family's come here, all the people that have come in here now, that have come legitimately, right, with their passports, with their identification, to work in all the jobs, schools, everything, right?
Yeah.
You feel your family now are more in danger because of the policies of the government.
Sorry, again.
They're allowing in people with no
Excuse me,
passports.
sorry, just your question is for the panel. So do you have a question for the panel, please? So what's the question for the panel then?
The panel is the country for people coming in now that are that have their passports, have their identification, have everything, right? Is the country got more dangerous now because they're letting people, the government are letting people in now without passports?
Okay, so we'll take that from the end. You started the last call, so I'll go to Mark at the end, please. So, in summary, do you feel that the country is more dangerous now due to the current situation in relation to the immigration policy?
I don't, but we have to have a few things to say, I suppose. It's a very important question, a very important debate. So, as you said yourself, Charlie, we've welcomed a lot of people into this country. We need people, and there's a prime example of a person sitting beside me here who has enriched this country that I'm proud to live in. So, to answer your question, I think that's the policy that we should have. There is no doubt that we need to have a fair immigration policy. And I think every party has said that, and every party will say that here tonight. But I'm very proud of the people that have come here to work and be part of this country. And I know that there's prime examples here, and there will be prime examples, I'm sure, from other speakers as well. But I believe that that's where this country stands. I've said in my introduction that my own son's in Australia at the moment, and I believe that they've welcomed him with open arms. And I believe that most of the people here that are coming here from war-torn countries should be the same here, and that's what I believe and that's what I stand for. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mark. And just to answer your question, yes, I believe immigration is very, very important. And obviously, legal immigration is very important to have a lot more healthcare workers in the country and to have a lot more people in the IT sector. And I think we represent a fair share of the taxes we pay in the country, and our contributions are enormous to the country. So I think it's very important for us to be part of this economic status that we are in. Thank you.
Yes, to answer your question, I think it is important that we have immigration here in the country. I do think, however, there have been mistakes made by the last government. It hasn't been fair and it hasn't been efficient, and we need to make sure that we have a more fair and efficient set and standard for moving on. However, I do also feel we need to have a shopping list, I suppose, for the want of better words, in areas where people are being brought in. We need to have GPs, we need to have services, we need to have schools, and we need to have transport, where we have extra people coming into the community. We are also, by law, made to bring in people into this country, which is fine. We have lots of people who are working in our hospitality service, who are working in our hospital services. We wouldn't have people moving up on lists and moving around if we didn't do that. So I certainly feel we need to have people coming into the country. We have gone all over the world, and I will finish on this. The problem around immigration is when deportation to those who are illegal are coming in is not looked at, then there's a problem, and that's a government problem of the fox in the hen house.
Thanks.
Yeah, Charlie, so to answer your question, at the end of the day, people come here for a multitude of reasons. Some of those are coming here to work, and some of those are coming here fleeing war, fleeing persecution, fleeing economic issues. At the end of the day...
Chris, I'm talking about people that now get off planes with no passports.
If you
I'm coming back.
Sorry, Charlie, is it just, in fairness, just to try and keep things moving, you've asked your question, you had a good piece of time to express
You
it.
singled me out my name, so I'm
You
just
asked,
singling
sorry,
them out.
you asked the question, so they're responding to your question, so I think we just let them all respond if that's all right.
Carry on,
Thanks a million.
Chris.
Thanks.
Apologies, I won't single anybody out. At the end of the day, I believe that there are people coming here for a multitude of reasons. We need to be supporting those people. The issues that have happened have been around how the government has funded international protection, how the government has funded the international protection system so that we can have a fair and just system to support people. We have seen a multitude of issues being raised that are around the infrastructure that are in towns. That is where the issues lie. There are not enough GP services as a result of outdated government contracts on GP services. There's not enough school places as a result of failure to plan ahead for education. This is not the fault of those coming here, it is the fault of those in power.
Thanks for your question, Charlie. 20% of those that work in our health force come from outside of Ireland. They do a very, very valued job both in terms of our hospitals, in our primary care system, and within...
I don't think you're actually listening.
I am listening to it within the care industry.
I was saying about people coming in with no passports. I've no problem with people coming in.
Sorry to interrupt.
Right? So you're trying to twist things now.
I'm answering...
Charlie, I'm just going to ask you, sorry Fiona, I'm talking over again. Please, you've had your time to ask your question. We'll never get through any more questions all night if you keep interrupting the candidates.
She fingered me again.
Charlie, they're answering your question. They're answering your question.
Mark told you your name as well.
I just leave it at that, Charlie. If you don't mind, we let the candidates answer. I think they're all giving very interesting answers.
I know your name. I think it would be
Fiona,
rude
go ahead.
of me to pretend I don't know your name.
Thanks, Fiona. Go ahead.
Listen, you said this has been live streamed.
Charlie,
right?
Excuse me.
And you're using my name.
Okay, I apologise. I will never use your name again. No matter where I see you, no matter where I meet you. So, just going back to the generality of people coming into our country. I've lived abroad, members of my family have lived abroad, and indeed 2 in-laws in my family were born outside of Ireland. In answer to this very specific question that you asked, there is sometimes a lot of talk, and I would say loose talk, about people that come in that they're not checked, that they don't have any identification on them. Every single person that comes through the system, when they don't have papers, they are checked. There are background international checks done in relation to those individuals. If there is a situation where they need to go back to their countries, or Ireland is not in a position to accept them, to welcome them, there is a system that deals with that. There is also a system where people are allowed to come in. They can stay for a period of time while the checks are made, and they can then get PPS numbers and seek gainful employment.
Thanks, Fiona.
Of which we need. Thanks.
Thank you. I will respond to your specific point around people with no passport, but I do want to put on the record that I believe Ireland is a good and compassionate country. I believe migration we benefit from that, and immigration is a good thing and is the basis of our economic success as well. However, it is important that in any rules-based system, the rules are applied, that they're fair, that they're firm. And we have been dealing as a government with this in real time. The influx of people seeking refuge here in Ireland has exploded in recent years compared to other European countries that would have been dealing with this for longer. And one thing where I think we have failed is the processing times in dealing with analysing people who are seeking refuge, who are saying they're fleeing persecution. So one thing that we are committed in the Fine Gael manifesto is the fast-tracking process, putting more staff and more resources into designated centres dealing with individuals either from safe countries
or those who arrive with no or false documents, and we commit to process those applications within 90 days, because it's not fair on the individuals, it's not fair on anybody that the process has taken so long.
Yeah, I think we have to be, you hear me? Okay. I think we have to be honest with our approach to this. That the polls said that 85% of the country's number one concern is mass immigration. We should be taking people in, but we can't deny that there's a debate to be had. We do have the Dublin Convention and the Eurodac system. Nobody can come here by vote directly. They have to go through other state countries, and we take them more than any European country, which means that our system isn't working efficiently. We're taking people in to throw them into tents. We're getting fined for doing that. So we need to be a bit more sensible and be mature and adult enough to have this real conversation. So that's how I feel that immigration has always worked, but it has to be sensibly done. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question. What I would say to this, I think this conversation has become very polarised. I think part of that is to do with the fact that within the government for the longest time, there was the attitude that there was no issue when it came to immigration, and then, say, parties further to the left, there was an attitude that if we talked about immigration, it was scapegoating migrants or people who are coming here looking for asylum. We have suggested the development of a border agency because we think that there is not the ability to actually deal with the number of applications that are coming in. There's currently 31 staff to deal with 200,000 IPAS applications, which is not feasible. So if we want to have a fair, sustainable process, we need to actually put money into developing that system, because currently it's not a feasible system for immigration and for asylum seekers coming into the country. Also, to add to that point, for years there's been a campaign against things like direct provision, and this current government has made no means to try and end that, as well as dealing with the fact that we do have an issue with illegal immigration in the country. Thank
you. To answer the specific question about safety, I was the military governor of Ireland's maximum security prison a number of years ago, and all the prisoners under my responsibility and charge were Irish, born, bred and buttered. There was no international prisoners. In relation to the general points on immigration, I would say 5 F's are very important. Firm and fair, say fast. Fourthly, I would say we should be a fully funded immigration service. And finally, and this probably backs up what you were saying, sir, we need to facilitate an alternative mechanism which facilitates work permits. I just want to acknowledge Rakesh from the Indian community here, clinical radiologist in Mace General Hospital, thank you for your contribution to Ireland, and also members of the Filipino community who made a fantastic contribution to Newbridge as well. Thank you very much.